Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Arrowfire. Welcome back to another episode of Look Out and Shout. Finishing off after 3 years waiting for a figure to be released, even though I've gotten all the reviews out in the space of 2 weeks, we are finally finishing with the Terrorcons. With TFC Toys S-05 Jakiro, their version of a very stylized G1 Hung-Gurr. Something like 2018 to 2025, or 2020 at the very least, probably 2018 from the original designs being launched. We are finally finished with the rather small but very stylized Terrorcons from TFC Toys. So if you've been following my videos on this, they are very much not going in for the G1 scale. And the backstory to this is 4 limb bots were released up to a point. They were all being released with fairly regular intervals, with no word on the final figure, the torso piece, to combine it all. There is a lot of talk about what happened to TFC. Did they run out of money? They did go very quiet on releases, then started to reissue a couple of things. There was talks of the design being outsourced, and there was showing some designs of Abominus in the background somewhere where King Poseidon was being made, and it was all very convoluted. Really getting the figure now, I can't really see where the weight came in. But anyway, we are here. It looks more or less the same because all the boxes are the same. It's still keeping with the same name. And all I can find for Jakiro is from the Defense of the Ancients video game, which is a twin-headed beast. That's a stretch. I mean, we've gone from this thing being called Satan to having Lucifer and Astaroth and Leviathan and all kind of evil, mean-spirited names to be a character from a video game that's not even related to Transformers. We've got the same nice design on the box, a nice pixelated art, and on the back you've got the same product shot. So sadly my box got dented in transit. That's a bit annoying. It is a very, very large box, because it's a very large figure. And you too can pick up your own copy of this figure from ShowZStore.com, where if you'll be so kind, the next time you make a pre-order and purchase, please remember to use the code at the top of the homepage, the code of FIRE1, F-Y-R-E-1. Any points that you generate through your purchases are automatically shared to my account, which lead to future reviews such as this. Thank you very much to everybody for their ongoing support. Okay, we waited long enough. Let's get on with it, shall we? And here he is in his robot mode. Oh my god, that is a chunky bot. That is really, really something. If you've handled the 4 limbs and then got to this, it's so different. And feel and presence alone, I just can't tell you how different it is. Okay, obviously has similar stylization to it, similar designs. You can tell it's in the family. But the build quality difference just feels worlds apart. And yes, it should do, because it's a torso bot that's going to hold effectively 4 limbs coming off it. But everything is here, every ratchet, and it's just a lot of dense plastic. Not so much on diecast, but heavy ratchets throughout, and you really get a sense of just depth of this guy. He really is large. And his box as well just shows that. It's at least the width of the box is almost 2 of the combiner boxes, 2 of the limb boxes. It really is quite something. So he's holding his gun with these 2 side missile launcher bits stuck onto the side of him. The gun is huge, nearly dragging it across the floor. Yeah, it isn't my absolute perfect definition of what I would want Hung-Gurr to look like. But just on size and presence alone, I am not unimpressed at all. I think it looks really quite something, very captivating. And again, like always, when you put them alongside each other in robot mode, you really do get a sense of it. Let's get in for a closer look. Because he stands so proud, let's see if I can get that head sculpt into a little bit of focus for you. It's a very nothing face, and he doesn't come with an alternative. He comes with a lot of back of head replacements, because again, we're going in for light piping. We've got red on at the moment. He also comes with yellows that will make him light up his eyes a bit different. Yeah, other than that, it's just the one face sculpt that he's got going on. I really can't tell you how dense this guy is. I'll get the arm out of the way. Just look at the depth of his chest. It's utterly huge. And yes, he should be. Torso bots are more, but in my mind, I don't think Hung-Gurr was that much bigger than any of the rest of his team. A bit like how Silverbolt is for the aerial bots. He was much more in keeping than, say, Motormaster or Onslaught would be in their respective combiner teams. He's taller, yes, but maybe not to this definition of stocky. There's got the typical animal feet is going on that will make up the knees for Abominus, and we'll see more of that for combined mode. And as you see on the back of him, he's housing a lot of the tail and the two-headed creature legs, as well as what's going to fold up the chest piece of Abominus as well. The gun looks quite good, very detailed, very pink as well, but he's got some nice little canisters on the back of it. And again, all of these guns combined, so you can see how that's going to go. A couple of things come a little bit untabbed, you just have to do a bit of tidying up here and there. Now, to change the back of his head, there is a very small screwdriver in the back of it, or screw head I should say. Get a small screwdriver. Off comes the head altogether, so you can see he's just a shell of himself with the red backing piece. You want the screw though, don't lose that. And whilst it's on a ball peg, I would just recommend you close it back on whilst it's sitting over the ball peg itself, just to give you that added definition. And that's how he'll look all yellow dyed. Probably the better of the two. Interesting choice to change out the entire headpiece. Yeah, but something you can do. Now that does leave the small matter of this piece, which is something that will go somewhere. Maybe I'll find out how it progresses. Maybe it is for the combined head more so, but there is another piece you can use. Also, and this fell out of the box when it came, I've got two talons. One yellow and one red, and I'm not sure where they belong. I will come across it as the video goes on, as I'm going to be messing around with him. I'm sure I'll see a piece. But yeah, these are other features that are otherwise not included in either the instruction booklet or on a YouTube video. Comes with two white antennae, because currently the combined head will have pink ones. You can interchange them, as well as a battery and a battery socket, which again will give more of a light up feature rather than a light piping feature for the head, which is an odd choice considering we've been light piping throughout this. So yes, onto some articulation. We'll do head rotation all the way around. Can look up, can look down fairly well for what he can see. He can wobble side to side as well for his neck. Soft-ish ratchet all the way around, or still fairly firm at the shoulder. Friction out at the side. Bicep rotation is good. There is a double bended elbow, but it's a bit awkward because again, and this was the same with Lucifer, you couldn't get the full range of bend because of the size of the forearm, but there is two elbow connections, two elbow joints, you can see there. So it's a shame to put it in and yet you can't utilise it. No ab crunch, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, I don't believe there is one here. Waist rotation, a few bits will bump into one another, particularly with the tail at the back, on a friction as well. Very tight ratchets outward. But you can see the top of the leg, he'll start to bump into himself, but that's where the weight is all being held. And this is an interesting one. It's not so much a knee bend than a thigh bend, if you see how close that is to the top of the hip. But again, very heavy ratchet, designed to take a lot of weight. No hip skirts on the side, so he gets tad over 90 degree on a side kick, which was always the same with the original toy. Ankle articulation, but his kind of horns get in the way. You have to move him out of the way, and you will get more toe tilt down and to the side, but there is stuff there. Hand articulation is quite limited. There is no real thumb movement. That's a molded thumb, and it's open and close on 4 fingers, which the hands in this set have been very forgettable. Tough on the wrists as well. Yeah, for this size, when the engineering allows for it, it's something I would have liked a bit more of. He does have a tendency to lean back, so you're forever resetting the back of the feet because he's got more high heels on the go than a back support. So just be a little mindful of that. He will take a bit of resetting. And that's about it. So on to some comparisons. Now I only show this one quickly just so you can see. We're going to do a bit more of a comparison for robot modes and alt modes for the entire set in the combined video. But this is the height difference we're dealing with here from torso bot to limb bot. Could not be more different, could it? Again, as I say, you can see that it's in the family. You can see it's relatable. But wow, that is different, isn't it? That's quite a change. I mean, I'm impressed. I am impressed, but it almost could be an entirely different figure from an entirely different set, given how the design change has taken, well, 3 years to do so. And this is the difference in height come the end of it. Torso bots generally are bigger anyway, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite so vast. Here's an interesting comparison alongside X-Transbot's Razor, their version of a G1 Bone Crusher. Completely different styles, but I am surprised how close they are. I'm surprised how big this guy is, certainly when you put him alongside some others. That a 6-bot limb bot would be much the same as a what I refer to as chug scale, but now I'm starting to backtrack on that term a little bit in terms of a torso bot for it in a chug scale. Yeah, I don't think in any scale, in any continuity, that Hung-Gurr should be the same height or near to the same height as Bone Crusher, but we are where we are. Two different companies, two different approaches, very vastly different approaches, but something that people like myself could have in their collection. That's a bit more like it maybe alongside Fans Toys Sovereign, their version of a masterpiece, very much a larger masterpiece, Galvatron. That works a bit better for me in terms of scale. He's certainly of a leader bot category, so should square up to a leader bot a bit closer, but just be that shorter still. That scale works fine, and certainly these two would have been much in the same era, the post-movie era of Transformers. Couldn't be more different in terms of style, but height and scale, again, this works for me. Alongside Magic Square's Night Tracer, their version of a G1 Onslaught, Magic Square going for the smaller end of Masterpiece, maybe not the truer representation of Onslaught's height, but Onslaught was very much a taller bot. But again, Limbots, surprising how they're cutting much the same height. So again, I'm okay with this. Oh God, look at this. Alongside one of the bigger or biggest end of Masterpiece with Geiger Power's Superator, their version of a very large G1 Grimlock. So I can imagine these two being much the same scale. Not much scales with this set. It's a very different set. I love the size. I love the scale of these guys. But I would like to have the Terrorcons and Dinobots square up against one another. I don't think this set's going to do it though, even if it is, if I'm right, the largest set of the Terrorcons on the market, third party or otherwise. Oh, and I just wanted to show you this. This guy is as big as a G1 Abominus. Hun-Gurr alone, the torso bot, is as big as his 40-year-old counterpart. Well, that is quite something, isn't it? That is the advancements of time. Okay, let's get this guy into his alt mode, shall we? Oh, sweet Jesus. There he is in his alt mode. That's obscene. It's both the best thing and the worst thing at the same time. I was not prepared for it to sprawl out quite like the size it did. It is ginormous. Where do I even begin? Okay. That is the full length of it. All the other alt modes for the rest of this set have been completely different to this. This feels like, I don't know if there's a change of designer, I don't know if there's a change of attack or approach, but this feels different. It has the same ethos, there's similar designs of course, but the transformation, everything involved is a complete reset. It's very, very large, very dense. Even the materials feel a little different, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. There's real size and presence here. The transformation, I could only use the booklet. Now, I will say this, the YouTube instructions that are on there are not exactly great. It's a bit convoluted when you scan the QR code and you get sent to TFC's YouTube channel, which just shows you how to combine it rather than to get it into its alt mode. So I just followed the paper instructions and there were some steps missing. Whilst it's fresh in my mind, let me show you. Now, a couple of points that may be on the instructions. Look, it's no ill story if I tell you this again. When it comes to tabbing in what will be the chest piece of Abominus, fold out these side tabs, plug it into the side bit that you extend out here. I don't think the instructions tell you as such, but make sure you do it anyway. This almost definitely doesn't show you. The tip of the tail is folded down like that. And it took me a while to work that out, but you just fold it around like so. One of these bits was very, very loose on mine, but they have screw heads, so just tighten up the screws. I think this bit in the middle, it tells you to fold it down or have it up. I don't really think it matters either way. I think I prefer it down and up, but there you go. These pieces under the neck give you probably the biggest trouble. There's too much going on here. I've got them locked in for now, but you've got these pieces that they don't tell you to fold them away, but I'd recommend you do so. These sections hinge out, but then you've got the extender legs for the connecting into combine mode. So try and extend out the neck as far as you can, then get that section folded in, then close it up. And it's only like a rubber peg, which is an odd choice, and you really got to push it in, and don't be surprised if it comes back out again. You're forever resetting the arms, the feet, but broadly speaking, everything is here absolutely fine. It is ginormous. I mean, I'm impressed. But there you go, some bits with the movability, and I found this in robot mode as well. bits like to come untab. Okay, you can see what I mean about that section. There's a lot to kind of house in there, and with articulation stuff starts to move. This feels very flimsy, very soft. You have to get it across and get it really pushed in. But if you move the neck again, you can see it comes out. See, this is where I say it's the best thing and the worst thing. Tabbing in of the side shoulders, you've got to get these pegs round onto the very small connection. And there's a lot of friction and ratchets in here that movability is going to make stuff come unpegged. Right, let's show you some articulation as best we can. So you can see the light piping for the head. There's not much that light can get through, so it's just showing this clear translucent red. The mouth opens as such, but the head can go all the way up for absolute nightmare feel. Very sharp teeth on the go, do like that. You can give him kind of blasting effect if you want. That's his heel for robot mode. There's not really a head articulation down, which I think is a bit of a shame. It doesn't tilt downwards at that point. But this is where there's perhaps more articulation in this mode than there would be anywhere else. He can look down at a knee turn, which I probably wasn't too clear about for combined mode, but he can also look down at that thigh turn down as well. So there's a lot of downward arch you can get. Very hefty ratchets on the go there. You saw the arm articulation. There's the claws, there's the feet on the go. You can get a good sideward stance out. That's holding a lot of weight with the ratchets there. The back legs they needed to be locked in, and I don't think there's any way you can do so. There is a tab there, but I don't think it locks into any port, which is a shame. That would have done with an extra bit of latching, to the point that this hydraulic leg's pretty good, the ankle's pretty good, but the looseness, if anything, is on the hip to the body, and so that can come untabbed a bit. Tail articulation is quite good, like that arch down, and you do get a range of motion left and right, but he'll start to bump into himself a bit. So yeah, would have done with maybe a little bit more. Feels a bit over rigid, but I cannot tell you the size of this. This does not feel chug in any sense of the word. This feels like a masterpiece build in terms of scale, but maybe not necessarily in terms of quality. In some ways it feels rushed. And of course, like all the members before, he can store his gun on his back. And this is one thing I will not miss about this set. Whilst it looks good and they all kind of house their weapons on them, and this one is quite central, I do not understand why TFC Toys do this. It's a circular holster tube peg that goes into a hexagonal port. And it's just, why would you do that? Make it a hexagonal tube that goes into a hexagonal port, or a circular one into a circular port. And it just makes it harder to jam it in. Odd choices throughout here, and just feel a little bit of naivety. I love it, I absolutely do. God knows how I'm going to show you comparisons, but let's try and get something done, shall we? And where this may have been a comparison for the individual limbs, this is not a comparison for the combined torso. Here he is alongside Studio Series 86 Slug. That's just night and day. It's just not even in the conversation, is it? And to a point, does it ruin the image? I suppose not. But he's not going to scale with other Chug figures in this one. He's definitely on the MP side. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to house. I can't say I hate it, but yeah, he's going to even dwarf the rest of the members of his set. How's this for a change? Alongside the original Transmetal toy of Beast Wars Rampage in his tank mode. So, you might get an idea of scale, but certainly not for length. I mean, this is compressed up. I'm not going to say it isn't, but yeah, look at that. That is just pretty something, isn't it? He's so huge. He's just so huge. Typical Masterpiece Carbot into Takara's Red Alert. Not really much you can say about that. It looks more like Jurassic Park in this sort of scale. And talking of Jurassic Park, alongside Geiger Power's Grassor, their version of Slug. I did not think I would have something else in my collection in a beast form, in an animal form, that would rival the Geiger Power dinos in terms of their scale. And boy, does this do so. Yes, you could argue this is much more front heavy and slender towards the back, whereas Slug isn't. He's just all the heft all the time. But I feel this just meets it halfway. And again, I'm very happy with Terrorcons against Dinobots. I can't believe how that works. That's really impressed me. I am coming round to this figure, but it just felt steps during the transformations. Again, it felt rushed, but putting it alongside some of these bigger offerings in my collection, I'm very impressed. So what is my view on Jack's hero? I'm more impressed in this mode than I thought I would be. That's the entire width of my camera screen from here. That's ridiculous. But as I said, and as you probably got throughout this, it's not necessarily perfect. There are some things that just feel rushed, and I can't use that term. It's a bit like I did with Fans Toys Combiner. Okay, let's talk through what I do like about it. The robot mode has tremendous build quality to it, in as much as the ratchets feel really tight, the deftness, the build, to such a point it doesn't feel like the previous releases. And with it very much being on the smaller side, this guy was quite refreshing to be much more on a masterpiece end. It could stand shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Sovereign or Quietus or other masterpiece scale Transformers. The transformation was probably what I like about it the least. It felt very back to front following the instructions. There were no video instructions for a transformation into beast mode that I came across, and that just kind of led to working it out as I went along. Fortunately, as I've said before, if you kind of know going from a two-legged creature to a four-legged creature, it more or less just falls down, doesn't it? You fold bits out, everything more or less cascades into place. Plus the fact you can see where his feet are. These are the arms for robot mode, the front legs, so everything is doable and achievable, with some clever nuances thrown in, I will say that, but some odd choices throughout. I'm going to take that gun out for a start. I'm not a fan of that connector. The instructions as well were quite poor. Some bits were just very odd to work out, and instructions, video instructions, there's an art to it that some companies still haven't cracked, and TFC sadly are no better in that sense. But like I said, the choice of connections in some places, the housing and how some bits still like to come out with the tightness and the heftness of the ratchets can jang things out of place, and that's not exclusive to TFC. Other companies have been guilty of that as well, but it feels flimsy, like tabbing in the back of the whatever this is covering the combiner head. There's some odd choices here and there, to the point that there's so few images of the, or beast mode, whatever you want to call this thing, it's hard to be sure if you've done it right. I'm not a fan of the light piping, and the alternative back of head is a weird thing. I would like an alternative faceplate, considering he hasn't got a mouth guard or anything like that, and that can kind of go for the whole set. It's very unexpressionate in all of their faces, and the fact that he's got a bigger face, it stands out all the more. The sheer size, scale and presence, the build quality in terms of heftness is very, very good. He makes the set look better, and as I've said before, you put combiners alongside one another, they hide each other's weak points. This is no exception here. I would have liked a little bit more articulation in some areas, and why, for example, that this particular leg feels nice and secure, this one feels flimsier by comparison. I had to tighten up one of the fins. You can probably see that's looser compared to this one, which I'm having to put a lot more force in. And this is where it feels rushed. And what I feel when I look at the robot form of Hung-Gurr, it's not so much a robot form as it's very much a torso bot for Abominus. That's how I view some of the articulation. The double jointed elbows are really good, but if he's got such big forearms that he can't get the full articulation all the way up, then what's the point of it? You're not getting the full utilization. Therefore, it's there for combined mode rather than the individual mode. And I don't know what took TFC Toys too long, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's definitely one of the biggest Hung-Garrs out there, if not the biggest. It's definitely not G1. It's very stylized. I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I can easily see this beaten. I can see a G1 Hung-Gurr come out from an X-Transbots, from Fans Toys, from, I don't know, anyone else. Craftsman Toys, if they're still going. Bingo Toys. And there's options to be had. This is keeping to its lane, which I like, and I think should be praised for doing so. But I don't know. It's something that I don't feel absolutely nails the aesthetic of the character. There is good build, at the same time the build is kind of what lets it down with some of the knocking of joints, and in a way it sounds like I can't be pleased. I like it more than I thought I would in this mode, but it's not perfect. I meant to say as well, he comes with screw hole covers or plug covers, and looking at him he has got a few holes. I may utilise these, I may not. It's not essential, but looking at him now I hold these up there, he's littered with quite a few holes in the neck for this beast mode. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't even know what this is. Based on this, I give this guy 3.5 on my star badges. Again, I like him more than I thought I would. I'm very pleased I've got him. I just don't think it's been executed fully, and I think it's, again, been sacrificed more for the combined form, which you can argue you should do, but was it worth the wait? Not really. But do I love the size of this? Absolutely. Do I think it can be better? Yes, for here and now, this will do nicely, but I do think it will be beaten. And there we go. That is my review of TFC Toys S-05 Jakiro, their version of a very stylized Hung-Gurr. I'll put some photos up at the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button because I will see you on the next one.